The train pulled away, its whistle fading into the Highland sky. I stood alone on the platform, 52 years old, a single suitcase at my feet. I'd left behind a life of relentless noise and demands in London. The city's constant hum had hollowed me out. I came to the Highlands seeking something I couldn't quite name. Solitude, clarity, a quiet space to hear my own thoughts. My cottage was nestled against a gentle hill, the air sharp and wild. Unlocking the door, I was enveloped by a profound silence, broken only by distant sheep. For decades, I'd filled every moment with tasks and distractions. Now, faced with unstructured time, I felt a flicker of panic. Who was I without constant motion? I unpacked slowly, each item an anchor in this new reality. I made tea and watched clouds drift across ancient peaks. The mountains, indifferent to my anxieties, offered comfort in their silent presence. For the first time in years, I felt I could simply be. Friends and family questioned my journey, but this wasn't running from age. It was running toward myself. It was a pilgrimage to nature's wild cathedral, seeking a different kind of salvation. Here, I would learn to be alone, not as lack, but as fullness. In the heart of the Highlands, I was ready to begin. The silence was no longer frightening, it was an invitation. Morning arrived, shrouded in mist, blurring the world into softness. I laced up my boots and stepped into the cool, damp air. There was no real path, just a suggestion of a trail through the moorland. I walked with no destination, letting the land guide me. In the city, walking meant purpose here. Walking was the purpose. Each step loosened the grip of old anxieties, the mist-muffled sound creating a cocoon of quiet. My breath deepened, syncing with the rhythm of my stride. Worries faded to distant echoes, diminished by the moor's vastness. I lost track of time, the world shifting between glimpses of green and veils of fog. It was like moving through a dream, untethered from identity. I noticed tiny water droplets on heather, intricate like in the spongy peat. My dulled senses awakened. I was truly seeing for the first time in years. This was mindfulness, not as a practice but as a natural state. The mist didn't obscure, it revealed a world of quiet wonder. In this serenity, I found deep, abiding peace. My walk led me to a small burn, its tea-colored water winding through the moor. I knelt, dipped my hands in, the cold a sharp, elemental jolt. The water's murmur was a steady percussion, echoing centuries of persistence. I listened, layer by layer, as the Highlands symphony unfolded. Water, wind, and the distant call of a curlew. The wind's sigh spoke of freedom, the land's untamed spirit. I felt awe, not fear, at being a guest in this ancient place. Birdsong added to the chorus, each note distinct in the quiet. In the city, I'd tuned out noise. Here I was learning to tune in, immersed in sensation. The cold water, the wind, the scent of earth. I was grounded in the present. These simple experiences pulled me from endless thought loops into my body, into this moment. It was a homecoming, a return to the senses, a return to myself. The wildness of the Highlands became my meditation. One afternoon I met an old man leaning on a gate by a whitewashed croft. Ewan, with his weathered face and gentle eyes, greeted me with a nod and a soft day. We spoke easily, about sheep, seasons, and the changing light. He never asked about my past. Here, identity markers faded away. Ewan's world was tangible. Flock health, stone walls, the fickle moods of Bane Aid. He spoke of the mountain as a living being, a companion to respect. His connection to the land was practical, intimate, built over a lifetime. He lived with the land, not just on it. As we parted, he offered simple advice. Don't be in a hurry, the hills will still be here tomorrow. His words distilled the lesson I sought, peace and patience, in letting things unfold. In the city, I'd always rushed. Ewan reminded me there was another way. Our brief encounter was a warm light in the quiet landscape. Sometimes the simplest connections are the most profound. I walked on, carrying his wisdom with me. By the loch's edge, a flat rock became my writing desk. Each afternoon I brought my journal and tea, surrounded by silence and the gentle lap of water. Here I unpacked my mind, writing about the landscape, then turning inward. I wrote of the life I'd left, the career, the relationships, the disappointments and fears. The act of writing released the weight I'd carried for years. The loch's stillness seeped into me, its surface a metaphor for the mind I sought. Thoughts and feelings like clouds drifted by, transient, not defining me. This realization quieted my lifelong anxiety. I alternated between writing and simply being, watching the light change on the water. The stillness was rich, full of possibility. By giving my thoughts a place on the page, I created space inside myself. A space for peace, for the woman I was becoming. The loch and my journal became my silent witnesses. Highland sunsets were daily miracles, fiery, fleeting masterpieces. I'd climb the hill behind my cottage to watch the sky blaze with color. Each sunset was unique, a reminder of beauty that asks nothing in return. The vastness put my worries in perspective. I was a small part of something grand. As day faded to night, the stars emerged, brighter than I'd ever seen. In this profound quiet, I felt renewed, as if the sunset had washed me clean. Peace settled over me, simple and pure. Happiness, I learned, wasn't to be chased, it was allowed, found in quiet moments. Each sunset promised a new beginning. One evening, a memory surfaced. My old London office, phones ringing, deadlines looming. I remembered the constant noise, both external and internal, and the exhaustion it bred. My life had been a frantic race, my attention fractured, my energy depleted. Here, the only sounds were the fire's crackle and the wind's sigh. I traded the city's chaos for nature's slow rhythm, a terrifying leap that became my salvation. That old life felt distant, belonging to someone else. I felt compassion for the woman I'd been, and gratitude for the courage to change. The stillness here was not just absence of noise, it was the presence of myself. Days settled into a gentle rhythm. I stopped looking at the clock. I ate, slept, and walked when I felt like it, listening to my body's wisdom. One warm afternoon, I walked barefoot by the loch, the grass and pebbles cool beneath my feet. The simple act was liberating, connecting me directly to the earth. For years, I'd walked in heavy boots of expectation. Now, I was finding my own way. There was no schedule, no destination, just the journey itself. Peace wasn't about answers or enlightenment, but accepting uncertainty and embracing quiet. I was learning to walk my own path with courage and grace. Standing in the water, sun on my face, I felt at home, not in the cottage, but in myself. I was exactly where I was meant to be. On my last evening, I watched the most spectacular sunset from the hilltop. The loch reflected crimson and gold, darkness gathering in the valleys. I felt a peace born of connection to the land, the sky, and my own quiet center. I knew the world's noise would return, but something inside me had shifted. The Highlands gave me not answers, but resilience and a renewed spirit. Solitude became fullness, silence, its own music. I promised to carry this peace with me, to carve out moments of silence in busy days. This journey was a turning point, a reminder it's never too late to begin again. Renewal and clarity are always possible in nature's quiet embrace. I came seeking silence, and left with the Highlands' peace woven into my soul.